I was born in Monmouth County Correctional Facility in Freehold, New Jersey. I was put into foster care and then later adopted by my maternal grandparents. I went to Winslow Township High School. We were ranked 300 out of 322 schools for the state of New Jersey. Video games became an escape for me, and I developed a passion for computers. In 2006, my older brother gave me his old iMac and demo CDs for Unreal Tournament and City of Heroes. In 2007, I built my first computer and took my first computer programming class. In 2009, I graduated as salutatorian and became the first student from my high school to be accepted to Massachusetts Institute of Technology. In 2012, I became the president of the Honor Society for the Electrical Engineering and Computer Science Department at MIT. In 2013, I graduated from MIT with my bachelor's in science in electrical engineering and computer science, ECS, with a 4.9 out of 5.0 GPA. In 2015, I graduated from MIT with my Master's of Engineering with a 5.0 GPA. I was accepted into Stanford University, the University of California, Berkeley, and MIT for my PhD in computer science. But I deferred for a year to help my grandmother, who was struggling with Alzheimer's and dementia. In 2016, I started my PhD at Stanford, and I was the only Black PhD student in the computer science department. My story was featured in the book Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth. In 2017, I joined the Stanford Dawn Project, which aimed to democratize AI. My work focused on lowering the computational and data barriers to ML so people could use it to solve real-world problems. In 2018, I co-created MLPerf, which became the industry standard benchmark for high-performance deep learning, and co-founded ML Commons, an international nonprofit aimed at democratizing AI through open, state-of-the-art benchmarks, data tooling, to measure quality, performance, and risk. ML Commons is now supported by over 125 members and affiliates, including startups, leading companies, academics, and nonprofits around the globe. In April 2021, I co-founded Coactive AI to unlock the value hidden in images and video, the vast majority of the world's data. We use AI to search and analyze visual content so teams can find, understand, and act on what matters in seconds. In August 2021, I graduated from Stanford with my PhD in computer science. With a 4.0 GPA. In 2024, we raised a $30 million Series B to accelerate Coactive's growth, backed by A16Z, Bessemer Venture Partners, Graycroft, the Emerson Collective, and Cherry Rock Capital. I am a builder, a researcher, a founder on a mission to turn potential into impact by turning unstructured data into understanding. My name is Dr. Cody Coleman. And I am a culture shifter.
I am the daughter of parents who believed in excellence, who taught me that education, hard work, and courage were the keys to moving the world, and that my purpose was to serve those who were disregarded and disenfranchised. I graduated with a terminal degree in epidemiology from the University of Michigan. In 1990, I began my public health career at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As a scientist at the CDC, I built the first HIV tracking system, a tool that shaped the world's response to the epidemic. In 1994, I moved to Trinidad and Tobago, a developing country, where I saw firsthand the extreme differences in health between Black people there and Black people in the US. When I came back, I joined the American Cancer Society as the first ever National Vice President of Health Disparities, where I created the first National Health Disparities Strategy for Cancer Research and Prevention. In 2008, I partnered with Steve Harvey to film his own colonoscopy to encourage Black men to get colorectal cancer screening. The video and Steve's testimony helped prevent 19,000 deaths nationwide over 10 years. I won a Telly Award for Best Health Video in 2009. In 2014, I became president and CEO of the Black Women's Health Imperative, the only national organization focused on the health and wellness of Black women. In 2015, I was honored with a Ford Foundation Public Voices Fellowship. That year, I wrote an op-ed that went viral about Serena Williams and maternal mortality. It was called Serena, We Are You, and it profiled the tragic experiences of Black women giving birth in the US. In 2017, I published Index Us, the first ever research study on the health of Black women based on healthy Black women. Researchers across the US credited that report with changing the narrative on Black women's health and health disparities from what's wrong to recognizing the power of Black women. Under my leadership in 2020, a campaign to increase breast cancer screening featured Mary J. Blige, which increased screening mammography across the US. And in 2021, I rang the NASDAQ opening bell with Mary J. Blige to start Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In 2022, I convened the NFL Players Association to highlight the issues of Black women's health, sickle cell, and maternal mortality in the first partnership between the NFL and a women's health organization. In 2024, I was invited to speak on women's health research at the White House as a guest of First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. And in June of 2025, I was named President and CEO of Community Catalyst, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to build power of people to create a health system rooted in racial equity and health justice, and a society where health is a right for all of us. I am a scientist, a strategist, truth teller, advocate, innovator, believer in justice, breaker of barriers, CEO, and a voice for health justice. My name is Linda Goler-Blount, and I am a culture shifter.
Embracing the courage To disrupt patterns that no longer serve us is how transformation begins. It's the essence of culture shifting and the ability to reimagine what's possible, challenge outdated systems, and build spaces where equity and innovation can thrive. Shifting culture requires courage, compassion, and conviction. I was born in Bangkok, Thailand, and I carry the richness of Thai, Laotian, and Mexican heritage. My journey has begun one of resilience, reinvention, and an incredible amount of faith. In the early 2000s, I made the decision to leave an unhealthy relationship and rebuild my life. I am a survivor of domestic violence, and that chapter became the foundation for everything that followed, a commitment to help others reclaim their power and rebuild with intention and lead with authenticity. After completing my studies in vocational rehabilitation counseling, my career evolved not only in mental health, but higher education, business, and organizational leadership. Along the way, I was honored to be recognized as Latina Businesswoman of the Year, Educational Leader of the Year, and a Woman Inspiring Girls honoree. In 2018, I led the quality assurance and compliance effort of a $56 million project, specifically in construction, ensuring that the highest standard of performance, accountability, and collaboration was there. And today, as the founder of Intentional Leadership and the president of National Association of Women in Business, Silicon Valley, my mission is to help women, particularly first generation, immigrant, and underrepresented founders, gain access to leadership development, capital, and economic mobility. I've seen firsthand that when women are given the right tools, strategies, and opportunities, they don't just build in business, they transform entire communities. In 2023, I had the privilege of hosting 44 international delegates to showcase Silicon Valley's innovation ecosystem and the power of women-led entrepreneurship. That experience reminded me that while opportunity exists, equity does not. It still requires intention. Around the world, women continue to face barriers in access to funding, mentorship, and visibility. Yet we continue to rise because our resilience is generational and our leadership is transformational. Through intentional leadership and NABO, I've cultivated communities where women collaborate, we advocate, and we scale together. We're building ecosystems that empower, also our shared partnerships are purposeful, and that possibilities are limitless. Because culture doesn't shift by choice, it shifts when people act with purpose. Change happens when leaders use their voices for those who have been silenced. It happens when communities unite around shared values of inclusion and progress. And it happens when women lead strategically, boldly, and most importantly, fearlessly. I am a community leader. I'm passionate about transformational change and a champion for women business leaders, BIPOC immigrants, and underserved communities. My name is Lena Mendoza, and I am a culture shifter.
June 30th, 1990, I was 11 years old for 9 days. I got arrested for armed robbery in Philadelphia County. Growing up young in Philadelphia, not knowing who I was, wanted to be accepted, wanted to be cool, just following the crowd. I got out next week, I got locked up again. I wound up spending 5 years in the juvenile system. By the time I turned 17, I got locked up for 2 armed robberies, 2 firearm violations. They sentenced me to 19 and a half to 52 years in prison. They certified me as an adult, which means I got to go to adult prison. I walked into prison not knowing who I was, but I wound up turning prison into Princeton, jail into Yale, the state pen into Penn State. I educated myself every day. While incarcerated, I got my hands on the iPod Touch and a wireless hotspot. I started searching the internet. I said, oh, this is, because being in jail for, all these years, I didn't even know you had stuff like this. Once I got my hand on it, I started using it to do all the research possible. And at the same time, I'm looking at Anthony Bourdain on the TV, and I'm saying to myself, I didn't know that the world was bigger than the hood. Once I learned that, I said, okay, when I get out, I realized that a lot of people is playing with this technology and just using it for entertainment and not using it to scale. I took that phone and I created a marketing agency, which I didn't even know what it was called. I just started marketing people businesses for them on social media, along with motivating people on the daily messages with just this phone. Living in my grandma's middle room, I said, okay, I'm gonna start my own show. I started a show called Where's Wallow. Put it on YouTube. I just took the phone on a tripod, started interviewing some of the biggest talent in the world. I went from there, I said, okay. I started a podcast called $1 Million Worth of Game. In the same time I'm starting the podcast, Leo Cohen appointed me the cultural advisor at YouTube, where I started a program called YouTube Avenues. We went all around the world and we educated people how to start YouTube, how to scale on YouTube, how to monetize on YouTube. We came here, I had to sit down even in the Bay, but we went to communities all across America. Once I started the podcast, $1 million worth of gain, after, the first deal came in 6 months, it was for a few million. And in 2.5 years, I renegotiated that deal for extension for $30 million. No agent, no none of that. And it was a licensing deal. And it was a licensing deal. So I partnered up. I only like to partner with people that care about the community that I come from. So Barstool, I partnered up with them. We gave back $4.5 million during the pandemic to minority business that was struggling on the East Coast. Outside of that, I wound up becoming Chief Marketing Officer for Reform. Last September, I dropped the book. My memoir became an instant New York Times bestseller. Recently, utilized AI to tell the stories that I'm creating in order to show my partners, like, this is what's going on, this is what's new, this is the future. Because I believe that Hollywood is dead and technology is going to take it over. And the people that believe in themselves every day they wake up, they're going to be winning. They're the new stars. And I said to myself, I'm going to bet on myself every way possible. So I started a company called Nandy House, which housed podcasts, book publishing, movies, and TV series. And my name Wallow 267. The 267 come from my prison number, so I can remember where I came from and I ain't never going back to. And I'm a culture shifter. Thank you.
My name is Eri Kanabota Chikudo, and I am on a mission to build the next 100 years. I started my journey as a sales professional at LinkedIn. I sold enterprise software to Wall Street CEOs. Within a year, I became the #1 seller in North America and contributed to our sales software crossing $1 billion in annual recurring revenue. By age 29, I bootstrapped my own alternative investment advisory. The firm is called Kin. I used Facebook and LinkedIn to source 19 companies across the world, Africa, the Americas, and Asia. Those 19 companies have scaled to a total value of $7 billion today. In that portfolio exists 4 unicorns and 3 exits to PayPal, MasterCard, and Stripe. Also, at age 29, I shook up the art world as a debut auctioneer. At launch of Aku, a digital character created by the MLB player Micah Johnson turned artist, my voice alone closed $1 million in sales in 1 minute. This shattered art sales records and led to $2 million in sales in 24 hours, $34 million in 1 afternoon, and $53 million in revenue within the first year of launching. Yes. Aku skyrocketed to becoming to securing a first of its kind Hollywood movie and TV deal, partnerships with Visa and Starbucks, and even graced the cover of Time magazine. On my 30th birthday, I launched Audacity Fund live on Bloomberg. I made history as the first Black woman to build a tokenized venture capital fund. That is a venture fund on the blockchain. I also built a proprietary crypto treasury, a treasury powered by cryptocurrency. Our founding limited partners include Steve Harvey, the entertainer and businessman, the heiress of Reginald Lewis, Christina Lewis. Reginald Lewis was the first Black man to run a billion-dollar company in American history. And also Mike Gamson, the former chief revenue officer of LinkedIn. Audacity Fund's founding co-investors include Andreessen Horowitz, Coinbase Ventures, Lightspeed Ventures, Serena Ventures, and Pharrell Williams' Black Ambition. The through line here and all that I'm sharing with you all, everyone, is that I cracked the code in turning culture into capital. Thank you. I've used social media to mint millionaires in minutes. And I've built profitable enterprises with record-breaking ARRs. I'm called the Rainmaker because people call me to make it rain. Today, I am raising for Audacity Assets, a holding company that vertically integrates media, products, and investments using AI and blockchain. We are going after the #1 most important economic historic event in human history, the Great Wealth Transfer. Over the next 25 years, $124 trillion in the US alone is going to get passed down to the next generation. Mostly women will be the beneficiaries of these trillions. Audacity Assets requires that we capture trillions. I am super excited to partner with family offices, individuals, everybody in this room, and creator economy investors who ultimately have the audacity to build the next 100 years. If that's you, come and find me and let's make it rain. My name is Eri Kanabota Takuto, and I am a culture shifter.